Yeah. Hey. Woo. Wow. Let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Untamed. Wake up. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yo.
Wake up.
Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. You better wake up from this dream. Shout out to Sherman Wells. This culture's not your reality.
Big Sherman to you, friend.
Be a casualty, cause the life that we losing the drug and improving is keeping us off from our greatness. We gotta spread the love and stop hating. Then rearrange these front pages. From murder and death to building our wealth. Removing the stealth, milking the game till there's nothing left, and teaching my people to love themselves. I'm crashing on competition, that's an interference with the commission, man. We tired of listening, so we standing up. Unification amongst us. Hey. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Time to wake up, wake up, wake up. Shout out
Unity.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy
Paul
the God. Man, I like that. Look, you bring that Paul B singing back. I like that.
Yeah, Paul B.
Hey.
Yeah.
If you need someone to talk to,
Hey,
Paul B.
Paul B. Man.
Pops gives us a good Monday morning. First Guy and Mad Love from Las Vegas. He taking it back old school. Pops coming in first.
Yeah. How's Vegas treating you?
Yeah. What's the weather like inside the apartment? Every time I'm like, how is it hot out there? He's like, I don't know. It's nice, cool 77 in the house.
Mm-hmm. Nice and controlled in here.
Good morning, Mama God. She says, good morning, fam. How you doing this morning? Black Dynamite in the chat early this morning says, good morning, y'all. What's up? What's up? Michelle Moreno says, good morning. Hope everyone has a good week. Yeah. Hope everyone does too. Amy H. Dotted in the chat. Good morning, fam. What's happening? What's happening? Long time no see. Good to see your name too. Yeah.
Hope all is well.
Yep. As you guys know, we do a 7 o'clock hard start with the news, but we like to come in about 10 minutes early just to get the hellos and how you doings out of the way with the fam. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So yeah, how you doing? How was your weekend? What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's new?
Yeah. Yep. You guys healed? Are we over the shock of last week yet? How's everybody faring right now? That's kind of what I want to know.
Calm down.
Yeah.
To the ground.
Yeah. I've been happily, not watching any of the news, any of the national news stuff, just to give myself a little break, because that last 2 weeks of election, I don't know if we're gonna win. I don't know. We're gonna have to change up. Can't go through what I went through last time again. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Some changes some changes definitely gonna have to be made, man. Because we're gonna have to do it again next year. It's coming up.
We gotta, like you said, change.
Yeah,
change
part.
up.
That part.
Heather Williams says, good morning, happy Veterans Day. Cool. Rose Reviews also say happy belated Marine Corps B-Day and Veterans Day. All right.
Okay. Hoorah.
You guys own it. Marlon Harrison says, good morning, First Guy fam. Hey, I appreciate all your posts, brother Marlon Harrison, on stuff that's going around. You definitely letting us know about stuff that we don't know. We don't know what's going on sometimes with 100 Black Men and all the people that the school board and stuff like that you post. So we appreciate your posts. Appreciate everybody's posts. But yeah, shout out to Marlon Harrison for that. Kimra Snipes is up early, gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Sean McCarthy says, morning, everyone. What's happening?
Hey, brother Sean.
She says, I was over Wednesday. Well, I tell you.
Man.
Kimber Snipes also says, I'm more so about what's next. Yeah.
I mean, especially with you, winning your race. Is that?
Yep.
Yeah. Got prepared to do the work.
Yeah, go back and check out Kimber's post. She posted from the headquarters last week after the election, talking about what she's gonna do. So yeah, connect with the people. And congratulations to you, Kimber, and everybody else that won their race. I think we're waiting on Ashley Spivey's. They still got some counts to do.
Very close.
She's still in it, having to deal with that. So I feel for her on that. Sean McCarthy says, hope everyone had a good weekend. It was a recovery weekend for pretty much everyone I know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Feel that. Clarice Jackson in the chat. Good morning, Sunshine. Good morning to you. Appreciate you coming through.
Yeah.
Pop says, I have noticed that there is a half degree difference between the bedroom and living room.
if you got the upstairs is always warmer. So yeah, that part.
Is it high or is it low? Is it half degree high or low? Black Diamond says, "Did we ever hear about Yarborough?"
Not
No,
sure. No,
haven't heard
no,
yet.
no.
Yeah,
So
good thinking. We need to look that up.
yeah.
Kimmer says, "Oh yeah, it's hard to remember you won when everyone's so sad." Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a
Yeah,
tough one for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, people upset, but the work must continue.
Yep. Speaking of work, I got to give a shout out to Sherman Wells. I don't know if you guys watched it, but Sunday's sermon with Sherman happened
Yeah,
last night. Brought out some details on some stuff that we've been talking about for a while. Catching up on some of the cases like Brother Levi Blake. Of course, he's had a lot to say about what's been going on with the police shootings and stuff like that. I highly encourage you to go over to his page and check him out, and check out Sunday's sermon with Sherman.
man,
Yeah, didn't see it last night. Just go back anytime this week and check it out. It's kind of a must watch for sure. So shout out to Sherman Wells for doing the good work, keeping up with these stories, telling the truth.
man.
Citizen journalism at its finest, and activism as journalism as well. So yeah, definitely check him out. And we got to have him back on the show and catch
Yeah,
up with
it's
you.
been a little while, but brother's definitely been busy, been active. Yeah, like to catch up, see what he has going on.
Word. Yeah, let us know, man. You in recovery mode like everybody else is on this. Like Kimber said, we about some action next. So
Time for some action.
yeah, yeah. Like what's next? What's next to do? A lot of my white friends. I told you, a lot of my white friends are devastated, and I'm just like, well, me check in with your black friends. We've been dealing with the same thing forever. Nothing's
Oh,
new under the sun.
right. Oh, you got a president you don't want. Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Oh, trying to kick you out of the country. Doesn't
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay,
Oh,
yeah.
you're not a full human with this guy. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sounds familiar.
Clarice Jackson in the chat says, "I want to commend you two brothers for the community work that you do. You're consistent, conscious, and considerate. Keep rising. If you are faithful at the bottom, God will make you a ruler at the top. Over much. One love. Appreciate
One
that.
love, one love. Ashe.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah,
Received. Thank you.
it's always nice to hear from you guys on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just be doing it, so sometimes we like, is this doing anything?
Man. Yeah, like that's the funny part. Like we still haven't fully built the thing that we're striving to build. Like we're
Right.
still so far from the final vision. It is very interesting, but we appreciate that.
Yeah.
We
Well, I
appreciate that.
think like I do know we've been grinding on this for about 3 years now, and the reason why it has morphed into what it is because of you guys. Like
Big
the
time.
important part is having the conversation with the community on a regular basis,
Big time.
and
And
that's the only reason why it works.
I guess that in itself is kind of a revolutionary thought because as we know, those opportunities are falling fewer and far in between. So yeah,
Yeah, big time, man.
yeah, we see it's a need, but if y'all don't pull up, if y'all don't come through, if y'all don't interact, then yeah, it's for naught. So we
Yeah.
appreciate y'all support. Thank you. Thank you.
Black Dynamite in the chat says, "I was just thinking we as a people will carry on just like normal." Shaking my head. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll be honest, man. I got a few friends on Facebook already saying like, "Hey, stock market looking good." Like,
Bro, stock market shot up, bro. For real.
hey,
For real, everybody's like, Trump gonna make it. You know how the stock market works. It's all speculation. They say, well,
hmm
when Trump gets in, everything's gonna be great. So they betting on futures, and it did shoot up. And my
hey,
little teeny Bitcoin stuff went up a little bit. You know what
man.
I'm saying? Like,
Again, I made the same point during the whole ARPA situation, and people was upset that hey, you can either focus on the problem or you can focus on some solutions. There's always a silver lining. There's always a way through. Just gotta focus on it.
what else I've been seeing a lot on social media is these commercials where it's like the 10 countries that will welcome you to move to if you need to get out of the country. It's some of the safest place, Puerto Vallarta, and all these.
Oh,
I'm
man,
like,
really?
seeing this a lot. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
seeing like some safe
I
places
did.
for American expats to go. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't see that, but I did see something the opposite way. There was marching for Trump in Japan. I don't know if you saw that. They had a little parade for Trump in Japan. Not sure what that was about, but it
Well,
happened.
we gonna start our parade right now. 7 o'clock. If you
Hey,
believe in the concept of time, it is now time to start First Sky Omaha News. We appreciate everybody that's joining us this morning Fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning,
In the morning.
happening now.
Hey.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Get ready to chime in. A fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning,
In the morning.
happening now on this 11th day of November.
Man,
It's getting a little chilly out here
bruh.
these days. And it's supposed to be a little bit chilly and rainy today, but then the high is supposed to get up to about 60 later on, and then tomorrow. So we're still in that realm right now. If you're in Omaha, Nebraska, where you go, you got to take your coat wherever you go, but you might have to take it off when you get there. So
Yeah.
what it is. But welcome, Fresh Edition. Appreciate everybody joining us on this Monday. We have special guests in the house. JaKeen Fox is going to come through. He couldn't make it last week, scheduled conflict. So hopefully he'll be able to come on this week. And then, of course, it's Monday. So that means that we're anticipating speaking to the senators, Senator Terrell McKinney and Senator Justin Wayne, and hear from them about what's going on, and have a little bit more discussion and knowledge about how the unicamera works and what's going on with the laws and what this election meant and all that good stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to hear from them today. Join us in the chat. Of course, we would love for you to chime in, for the chat chimers to go ahead and chime in, and give us your thoughts and questions for the guests. And of course, we'll also have more discussion about a lot of these stories after the 8 o'clock hour. So we hope that you stick with us throughout the show today, not just first hour, but second hour, where we can loosen up and get into a little bit more discussion on some things that are going on in our neighborhoods. As you know, we're pretty hyper locally focused with ties into the national, just because, that's just how life works.
Man.
Just heard on the news this morning, they were saying sometimes people will vote one way in the national election, but show what they really believe in voting for local politics and
Mm.
ordinances and things like that. So it's kind of interesting to see how people fared and what passed and what went on with a lot of the stuff that was on the ballot. And I think we'll be talking about it for a while. So let us know how you feel, how you fared, what it is that you thought was important. If there was any victories, of course, we have some winners. That are some chat chimers, like Kimmer Snipes won her seat.
Mhm.
So shout out to Clarice Dombeck as well for winning. So yeah, there's
Terrell.
say again.
Terrell.
Yeah, and Senator Terrell McKinney, he wasn't never worried, I wasn't never worried, and he was right. So, yeah, shout out to everybody who's still in it and doing the good work, and opportunity for us to really continue to support them as well. In the meantime, between time, just want to make sure that we are checking in with each other. So please, again, if you're just joining us and if you're new to the channel, remember that we speak to each other in the chat as if we are speaking face to face. This is not that kind of the kind of chats that you see on Channel 7 and other places that people do a lot of trolling
Man.
and all that
Man.
mess. Yeah,
K-Fab.
yeah, trolls go away. So, Chad Chimers, you are like our co-hosts here. So we hope that you continue to help us have great conversation, have great questions, treat the guests with respect, and come with us on the journey. So
Yeah.
with that said, buddy, how you feeling over there?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's always a pleasure to come down and speak to the chat chimer, speak to you, bro. This is really a safe space for a conversation, a safe space for us to kind of reach some common ground, hence the name First Sky. And all of you are a big part of, making sure this remains a safe space. So we appreciate you. And, we hope to dwell in a energy of love in this safe space. So, as our custom here, we like to kick off with some community love. Again, giving some shout outs, some things that are news to us, some headlines that we think that you should be looking out for, you should be aware of. And yeah, big shout out to all the chat chimers jumping in the chat. There's some shout outs, some things. Yeah, go ahead. Feel free to drop that in. I want to give a first start off with a shout out to the veterans, man. Both my father and stepfather formerly served. And again, I have a lot of specifically men, but just have a lot of people in my life, in my family, who have all served, man. So big shout out and thank you for your service to all the veterans who are again, observing Veterans Day. Maybe go out and get you some free food. That's what my stepdad,
Man,
my stepdad, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Plenty of free food out there for all the veterans. So go get you some grub. Get you some grub.
hey man, free food ain't nothing to shake a stick at these days for sure.
Nah, nah, especially with the the prices, man. Hey, get you some good eats out there, man. So yeah, big shout out to the veterans, and also this is not a story we pulled, but while we're talking about it, shout out to Wounded Warriors.
Mm.
A organization, local organization, who actually I saw this headline this morning will be building, I believe, it like a $30 million veteran home.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So for wounded and
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for it says supposed to be in Omaha. We'll maybe post that on Friends for anybody who wants to look more into that. But we talk about homelessness and not homelessness a lot on this show. And again, as we know, those returning from war, returning from battle, unfortunately, in this country, too often find themselves on the street and not getting the welcoming return that they were hoping for when they were overseas. So again, shout out to all the organizations striving to look out, look after our veterans, man. Yeah, a lot of them putting their lives on the line, putting their health on the line, coming back with all types of mental, physical, emotional issues. And again, this is for us to have this freedom, for us to have the ability to vote and do all the things that some of us take for granted, man. So big shout out to all the veterans out there. I'm not big on war, but I definitely acknowledge it's not an easy decision to go and serve, but it's
Same.
needed. Yeah, yeah.
Well
Big-
said. Well said.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Big shout out to the veterans. Also, shout out to my man Paul Philman, man. He's a vet in the streets, still fighting the towers. Again, yeah. If you or a loved one or a friend, anyone still dealing with the Omaha Housing Authority tower situation. Again, we're still looking to get information on bed bugs, mold, leaky pipes, just unsafe, unhealthy conditions. You see on the screen, you can call 402-578-3441. Again, that's 402-578-3441. I believe that's how you contact Brother Paul Philman directly. Again, he's fielding information. He's looking for people to come forward and share their stories. And again, he's gathering data. So yeah, all that is ammo in the fight. So yeah, speak
Yes.
up, speak out. Again, not just you, but your loved ones. Let them know it's okay. There's people out there to help you. Still fighting the towers, man.
Yeah,
Speaking of
man.
that,
Shout out
still
to
got
Paul.
shirts
Shout out,
available.
huh?
I said still got shirts available if you want
Oh
to drop
yeah,
some
yeah.
loot.
Yeah, for sure. Let me put that up on the screen too.
Yeah,
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 definitely
yeah,
hit us
yeah.
up. Part of the proceeds of these shirts go to the Underwood Tenants Group, which who we need to catch up with here soon.
Man, big time.
Yeah, I haven't got with them in a minute. But shout out to everybody who already purchased some of these shirts. Go ahead and go to the website. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat as well, so you can purchase that. And like I say, it's part of the proceeds go to the Underwood Tenants Group, so they can keep on fighting the towers. Shout out to Paul Philman too. I wanted to give him a shout out personally as well, just because the fact that he's a dude out there who's got a little time and a little ability to spend some time out working on something, and he ain't collecting Star Wars toys. He's out here
Man.
doing good work. You know what I'm saying? He could be doing anything. So shout out to
Hey,
Paul
hey.
Philman, man, for putting
Nothing
it
wrong
together.
with Star Wars toys though.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes how many white dudes that's out here standing out in front of the towers trying to help out, that have the ability to do that. So I appreciate him using his ability to do that, to do this.
Big
And
time.
I'm hoping OHA appreciates his efforts. He's helping them get the bed bugs out. So I don't think they I ain't heard them chime up too much lately,
Yeah,
but we'll check in with them and see. We'll see what's
that's a
happening.
good point. That's a way to look at it. I'll say
Yeah. We're
that.
definitely looking at.
Yeah, yeah, that's a way to look at it. But yeah, yeah, big shout out to White Paul as we call him around here. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing the work, doing the good work, doing the good work. But on a more serious note, speaking of fighting and doing the work, we got to rally up and fight for a brother who's been doing the work in the community, brother Jaden Perkins. I saw this on Friends of. Apparently, he has been diagnosed with brain cancer, and there is an effort to help raise some funds to help with this treatment, to help with just man that whole situation. Of course, I know dealing with cancer, there's times you have to take off work, doctors appointments, travel, just a lot comes with that. So again, we just posted the link in the chat. Please, if you are able to do so, go and help. Again, shout out to Miss Erica Felt, reminding us about her situation with cancer. And this can be beat, this can be fought. But we gotta rally and support. So again, shout out to brother Jaden Perkins. If you don't know, Jaden Perkins has been very active in the community, especially in the community organizing, political organizing space. And yeah, he's one of ours. So
Yeah,
let's
man.
rally. Let's rally.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. He's got a lot of support and he needs some more. So please, please find in your heart to go ahead and help him get through this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So not an easy situation, and our prayers going out, for brother Jaden Perkins and his family So
Yep.
there you go. With that, let's keep it moving with this shout outs. There was a loss as far as women's rights. Again, that was one of the big hits with the ballot initiatives, and I'm pretty sure IB Black Girl is going to gear up for the fight. So definitely shout out to IB Black Girl. They actually have an event, a kind of a fundraiser event. So if you want to support, again, women's rights organizations supporting women's reproductive rights, IB Black Girl, the Kiki Brunch is coming up later this month. So look out for that. Yeah, as you see, keynote speaker Raynell Super Scent Stewart. I'm personally not familiar, but a few chat chimers have chimed up and said that this is definitely an event that they want to check out. This Super Scent is definitely a sister worth checking out and listening to. So yeah, we already know IB Black Girl gets down. So yeah, anything that they do, definitely support. If you haven't already, definitely check out their new facility down on the Deuce. A lot of resources, a lot of, again, information for especially women in their reproductive rights. So shout out to IB Black Girl getting down, getting
Getting
down.
down.
Yeah, yeah, and also as you mentioned earlier, the Ashley Spivey race, we're still looking, still looking out for that. Very, very close race on that situation. So if anybody has been, looking and anticipating results for that race, again, Sister Ashley Spivey running for District 13, I believe, again replacing brother Senator Justin Wayne. And yeah, I believe she has like a 40 vote lead right now that she said, but there's still about 300 votes being counted. So we have to wait until about the 18th for those votes to come in. But yeah, crossing our fingers and anticipating a celebration for Sister Ashley Spivey. So looking
Yep.
out for that. Also, a volunteer event. If anyone is interested, shout out to No More Empty Pots. They also get down in the community, making sure, again, this food war continues to be fought. There's actually a volunteer event to help make food and plates for Thanksgiving. Again, 'tis the season of giving coming up, and yeah, you have the opportunity to give back, especially to our houseless brothers and sisters out there. Shout out to No More Empty Pots for this opportunity. So for those who are interested, there is a sign up link in Friends of First Sky Omaha. If you're not already a member of that group, make sure you go ahead and check that out. Yeah, because that's where everything continues in between the shows. That's where the conversation continues. A lot of the news is posted. A lot of the haps is happening. Check it out. Check it out.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got something on the mind? Something?
Yeah, no, not really. I just I appreciate everybody that's coming into the chat. I see Gwen Easter giving us a good morning. Appreciate that very much. Anthony Rogers Wright is saying that Ashley Spivey has a 65 vote lead
Okay,
right now.
okay.
They still have to count. She says they got the election commission has to count the provisional ballots, and they won't do that till November 18th, and then we'll find out
Mm,
what's going on there.
it's about a
Uh,
week.
yep, yeah. He says also Anthony Rogers Wright says look like the funder got Jaden exceeded his goal already. So shout out to everybody
Nice.
helped brother Jaden out. I see Jaquela Yarbrough's in the chat. Says, "Hey y'all, yeah, we wondered about your race. Let us know what happened with you. Also, we were just talking about you, so we appreciate you coming in this morning."
Yeah.
Black Dynamite says, "Did that from OHA ever get canned? Did which like? Oh, you talking about no, ain't nobody got fired over OHA. Yeah, no, 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 not happening, not happening.
Yeah, not yet, not yet.
Mama God is letting us know Golden Corral on 72nd will be allowing veterans meal all day today instead
Hey,
of
man,
waiting till 4 o'clock. So
man,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
go open and get down at the corral.
man. You just get some of that roast beef.
Nika Johnson is in the chat saying Happy Veterans Day. Appreciate you coming in.
Hey, what's up,
Wanda
Nika?
Lewis, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, hey to Nika. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's what's up.
yeah. Financier.
Yes, there you go. We need to give her a call. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
yeah, yeah.
Wanda Lewis gives us a peace sign saying good morning. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, Kimmer in the chat said people underestimate the difficulty in running as a black person outside of North Omaha. Very good thought. Yeah, very nice thought. That takes me back to Ashley Spivey. As you know, we did a little bit of filming her walking around, door knocking, all over the territory. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And some of these streets were a little bit daunting to go down, and she still made sure she went and spoke to the people. So shout out to
Man,
the work she did. Also, Marlon Harrison says sending prayers to Jaden Perkins. Yeah, appreciate that.
yes, yes,
I will definitely check in with him and his people too to make sure that they got everything they need and continue that. So
big
appreciate
time.
that. Ron's review says start your budget now so your money counts next year.
Hey,
Man, man, that's Warren Buffett style right there. So shout out to Mayor Sanchez with the great ideas all the time. Yeah,
keeping your coins.
just want to kind of make sure that everybody got acknowledged in the chat. I appreciate everybody getting up this morning. Everybody seems fired up to get up and talk and have a conversation. So I appreciate that very much. You are the community. Love hearing
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah, yeah, big time, big time. Speaking of that, last community shout out, man. Shout out to my brother Chris McCroy, who is president of Omaha Black Men or 100 Black Men of Omaha, and they just had their gala over the weekend. So yeah, yeah, man, definitely a stand up young man. Went to school with the brother, was in a few organizations with him. Definitely happy to see him in leadership with the 100 Black Men of Omaha. So yeah, yeah, shout out to my brother Chris McCroy.
There you go. There you go. Kimber Snipe says I was talking about Roundtree, but yeah, Ashley too, and myself. Yep. It's
Yeah,
tough
yeah,
to run in greater Omaha for sure, in greater
yeah.
Nebraska.
That's why we give it up to all those who win. It's not an easy feat. Speaking of that, Jaquela Yarborough answering our question. Sister Yarborough says Rogers still has the commissioner seat 4 more years. She says I got time.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
And
oh
then we
yeah,
know you won't we know you continue the fight
yeah, yeah, yeah.
regardless of the seat. So we appreciate you and all your work. I did talk to Brother Rogers towards the end of the race. He did say
Mhm.
if he did win, then he would be happy to come on and talk about it. So we'll see what he has to say on that.
That part,
So,
that
yep,
part,
yep.
that part.
We'll
Yeah,
keep on working on that. I'm
yeah.
looking at the dates, man. We getting ready to come up on a break here pretty soon. Looks
Pretty
like
soon,
December 15th is the end of season 1B.
about a
So
month
this is
away.
yeah, only a few shows left. That's interesting how fast
Mhm.
it comes up.
Yeah, actually, you do the math. About 10 shows left.
The countdown begins.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does, man. Speaking of countdown, man, let's go ahead and get into the headlines for the day before the day gets too far away from us. Again, there are a lot of things to talk about now that the election is over, shifting our attention and gears to a couple other things going on in the community, and definitely some things that we need to talk about. Some things we need to talk about, some things to maybe even try to make sense of. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about these text messages that are going out. I don't know what to make of it. I would definitely love to hear from some of you on your thoughts. But yeah, yeah, we'll definitely be talking about this again. A 12-year-old has come forward saying that she received a text message, as you see on your screen, with some very questionable comments. And she's not the only one. Actually, it's a trend going on across the nation. What does this mean? Where is this coming from? Especially on the heels of some of those school threats that happened earlier this year. Again, what's going on? Also, speaking of what's going on, finally got a decision from the grand jury in the shooting, murder, as we call it, of brother Cameron Ford. Again, lost his life at the hands of Omaha police. And again, the grand jury, of course, has come down with a unsurprising decision. So we'll definitely be talking about that and what that means as, again, the community still strives and asks for justice for Cameron Ford. And not just brother Ford, but also the other brother. Again, I apologize, his name's kind of slipping me right now, but the other younger brother that was killed by Omaha police earlier this year as well. Shout out to Sherman Wells for pointing out that officer that was involved in that shooting was just involved in another shooting that led to the loss of life involving Omaha police. So we'll definitely be talking about this Midtown police shooting situation. And man, is it too early to call for a Giglia list? Like we got to have that conversation. We got to have that conversation as far as what's going on with Omaha police. And of course, we are also expecting a few guests to come through. So maybe they'll have some insight on that, especially the senators, Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney, expecting them to stop through. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Brother Wayne has been representing some of the families dealing with that. Thank you, Miss Wanda Lewis. Brother Stephen Phipps, I want to recognize his name. So yeah, he was a young man who again lost his life at the hands of Omaha police at the transit center. And again, that officer involved in that situation is involved in yet another situation. So we'll be talking about most of that throughout the day. But as always, if there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that into the chat. And if we have some insight on it, we'll dig into it and talk about it and try to come down to, some understanding. In the meantime, between time, Paul B,
Yo,
what say
yo.
you?
Man, just want to encourage everybody to go check out Sunday's Sermon with Sherman,
Man.
his channel. Go to Sherman L. Wells channel on Facebook or YouTube. Excuse me. And definitely check out his live show he did last night. He talked a lot about this and brought out some details on a lot of the older cases that we've been reporting on as well, and stuff that's going on here. He's been keeping really close tabs on these things because it kind of feels like we're in a war right now, and this is really how we have to kind of battle it. We got to at least first get the information and find out what's happening. So there's body cam footage and stuff that he's seeking out now that the grand jury has said what they said about the one case. We'll definitely talk about it. We'll have to have him on too and catch up with him on some of this stuff. But in the meantime, definitely at some point go back and check out Sunday's Sermon with Sherman, the latest broadcast last night. Shout out to Sherman Wells for doing the good work.
Man, a sermon indeed, brother be preaching, man. So yeah, big shout out to Big Sherman, as we like to call him, brother Sherman Wells. Untamed indeed, man. You gonna get that raw
Yeah,
truth.
yeah,
Untamed.
yeah. We
Yeah,
trolling him.
yeah,
We'll take
man.
we'll take a quick break at 7:21 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we'll come back and jump into the stories and your comments as well. Again, we're anticipating JaKeen Fox that's going to come in and talk about a new news venture called Dreamland Report
Yes.
that you need to hear about. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Again, this is First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's
Paul
buddy,
Bing.
he's buddy the guy.
Hey.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B. Buddy the
Paul
guy.
Bing.
All of you, Chad Timers, ghost listeners, and monitoring spirits. We appreciate everybody who is chiming in and checking us out, man. We appreciate everybody who's in the chat and know the rules of the chat to come in and speak to each other in the chat as if we're speaking face to face. We want to have a respectful conversation and real conversation. This is not a
Yeah.
Channel 7 style chat where you just come in trolling and talking a bunch of mess. We're actually talking to each other here. So we appreciate everybody that's doing that, respecting the guest time when they come in. If you just joining us, then stay tuned because we'll have brother JaKeen Fox on in the chat and coming on soon. And also we're anticipating speaking to brother Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne as well today on a Monday. I see Sister Celeste Butler in the chat.
Hey.
I love your posts. You're always dropping gems for everybody too. We really love your posts. So I appreciate you being here. Yep. Wanda Lewis is calling out the name of the officer who's involved in these shootings, Noah Zendejas. So Pop says biggest be bigoting. Those text error are being sent to student colleges level and below being targeted primarily. So kids.
Man.
Goodness.
I mean, really, it's almost everybody. That's actually what I wanted to start the show off with. So, kind of thanks, Pops, for teeing us up with that.
Mhm.
More questions than answers with this story, unfortunately. But, this is something that I feel like should be, our attention should be pointed towards to, especially if we have young people in school, children, young, brothers and sisters. Check their phones. Check their phones because this is apparently a national trend, but it has happened to several individuals in the Omaha metro area. Actually, KETV, WOWT, a few outlets are reporting, but KETV specifically reporting an Omaha 12-year-old, again, as young as 12 years old, received a text message from an unknown number telling her she's been selected to pick cotton on a plantation. Several news outlets in other states are reporting the same text being sent to other people since Tuesday, since the election. And Joe Beth Wallace, who is the mother of the 12-year-old, says, "Why are we doing this?" Wallace said that her 12-year-old daughter was at middle school basketball game, and when she and another student both received the text messages saying, as you see, you pull that up on the screen. As you'll see on the screen, again, it's saying basically that they have been drafted to pick cotton, as you see. And the biggest thing for me is these text messages have these individuals' names on them. This isn't just some copy and pasted text message that's blasted out to everybody. These messages are directed, pointed to these people. They have these individuals' names in them, which is a big, big red flag. But as you see again, it says "Good morning" and is usually addressing the person. You have been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. Be ready at 5 a.m. November 25th. Sharp. Bring your belongings. You will need them. Our exclusive slaves will come. As you see on your screen, man.
Yeah, for those that are listening in, our exclusive slaves will come get you in in a white van. Be prepared to be
Man.
searched, and don't try anything. You're in a group plantation, so on and so forth. Yeah, man. It's trolling. I'm sure that they have got the technology for the bots to people's
Mhm.
names on, and they're shooting it out to the whole country, and it's just more ridiculous trolling, you know. Anthony Rogers right in the chat. If a white man wants to lynch me, that's his problem. If a white man wants to lynch me and I let him, that becomes my problem. Saying Stokely Carmichael.
Mm.
Great quote. Also, Mama Gata says national news outlets are talking about this. This is happening all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Um, the day after the election, the day
yeah,
after the election, the University of Alabama's student newspaper reported students receiving similar text messages. So it's again, as Pops had mentioned, it's from middle school all the way up to the collegiate level. So
mhm,
yeah, definitely, feels like trolling, but at the same time, um, where does this put the racial climate of the nation, especially given Trump, the election of
yeah.
Trump?
And that's the point to me. A lot of people
Mhm.
are really depressed and going through it about Trump, but again, we've been nothing's really changed. This has been something that's been going on forever. Just ask anybody black what's happening,
Yeah.
and it's the same old. And we deal with trolls and racists and stuff all the time. And people are asking me how I feel about that. How you doing about the Trump? I don't really care too much about Trump. I care about everybody who voted for Trump, and everybody who wants to try to chime up now because Trump's coming back
Mhm.
and wants to get bold and get up in people's faces. I'm seeing those kinds of videos too, but it's I understand where people like Brother Sherman Wells, Brother Kasim are coming from with stuff because they are the emboldened get up in your face stuff or talk to your kids or all this kind of stuff that's happening is just gonna fire things up even worse than they are because anybody gonna take that. Anybody gonna deal
Yeah.
with that around here.
Yeah, yeah,
So
no. They can try to take us back, but it ain't the '60s,
yeah,
we tried the nonviolent. There's another route that things
man.
can go.
Marlon Harris in the chat says, praying for all the kids right now. I know they're scared and for their safety and for the safety of their friends and family. They're scared. Their parents is even more scared. And but yeah, but like I said, we've been dealing with this. We deal with this kind of stuff a lot. It's just in the digital age now. It's gonna be all over. You can go to channel 6 and get all the racist
Yeah.
comments in the chat that you want to see to remember where you at. That's what I always do. If I need to remember where I'm living right now, I go to channel 7 and look at that chat.
Mm,
Celeste Butler says, I haven't seen any official classifying these weird messages as hate crimes, right? They
mhm.
absolutely should be. So we'll see what the law says about all these things. Tanaya Patterson, good morning. In the chat says the texts are coming out of a third party service provider. I heard.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, according to this article, it's a text app. When a family member did try to trace the anonymous number, and again, according to this KETV article, they discovered the message was sent from a text app. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is being investigated, and we'll look out for more information on this. But as I mentioned again, more questions than answers right now.
There you go. Appreciate everybody that chimed in. If you have anybody in your family or this is happening to you, I would suggest to call law enforcement, bombard them with calls on the fact that
Oh
you're
yeah.
getting these messed up texts. Somebody got to do something about it, and the first thing that needs to happen is if it's happening, you know, bombard them with calls. That's what I would do on it. And like Buddy said, check your kids' phones.
Man,
Protect.
that was just gonna reiterate that. Like, yeah, check your young folks' phones, man, if they have them.
Right.
Please, please.
Yep. Yep. Right on. Appreciate your comments. Moving on.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Moving on to kind of more of the heavy news of the day. I mean, that's pretty heavy. But again, Omaha Road Herald is finally reporting on this grand jury situation that we've been anticipating. And yeah, very unsurprising. Grand jury decision to not indict an Omaha police officer who fatally shot an unarmed 37-year-old man in his home. Of course, is drawing praise from the department's Police Officers Association, and as you would know, rebuke from some of the community leaders who are still calling for justice for Cameron Ford. On Thursday, actually, again, Officer Adam Vale was cleared by a grand jury of criminal conduct for his role in the murder of Cameron Ford. This follows an earlier decision by Douglas County attorney not to prosecute Vale. So again, Vale's continued employment with the Omaha Police Department remains uncertain. So there is that situation. We do know that Chief Schmaderer is not opposed to firing officers involved in these types of situations, but he still has to contend with the Omaha Police Officers Association and the whole litigation process, which is something that's currently ongoing. Actually, the Officers Association is arguing that Vale should, of course, remain on the force. In a statement issued on August 28th, completely saying that his actions aligned with training, department policies, applicable laws, and the latest scientific principles were all validated by the grand jury's decision. So, maybe it might be time to kind of address some of those things and change those if that still falls in policy. But that's just me saying. Again, the community is definitely chiming up. Reverend T. Michael Williams, who's the president of the Omaha chapter of the NAACP, said in a statement he does not think the grand jury decision validates Vale's actions in the killing of Ford, who, of course, was a black man. He went on to say, I think the fact that the police chief determined, the police chief determined that Officer Vale violated Omaha Police Department policies and procedures clear. Mr. Ford should not. While Chief Todd Schmaderer said in a statement that he did not find any criminal intent, he did say that the actions did violate policy and recommended for the termination of Vale. So right now, the only semblance of justice that we're looking at is a possibility of this officer being fired. But again, we're still awaiting the whole litigation process between the Omaha Police Officers Association and the Omaha Police Department.
Yeah. Shout out to Channel 7 for airing that. All the major outlets have been airing what's been going on in this case here. And again, I highly encourage you to go check out our brother Sherman's show on his channel, Sherman L. Wells. Look him up and check out his sermon from last night. That he had a lot to say about what was going on here, and he's been closely related to the case, and has been really kind of asking questions and getting up in their face about what's really going on and finding out what's happening here, and even keeping track, even kind of let us know. But this isn't the first thing. This is the first time this officer has been involved in any kinds of shooting incidents and stuff like that. So more information, and I would definitely highly encourage you to go over to Sherman Wells's page and check it out.
Yeah, yeah. And this is also something that jumped out to me in this whole grand jury process. Sister Wanda Lewis in the chat mentioning it. She says 13 in custody deaths were exonerated by the grand jury,
Right.
which is interesting. Again, a lot of this is not the first time that we've seen the grand jury kind of wrap up a bunch of cases in one and make a decision on them.
Not to mention, we got to talk about Don Klein as well. The county attorney who basically said he didn't do anything wrong. Senator Terrell McKinney. We can talk about this more when he comes on, but he mentioned that Don Klein kind of tainted that grand jury selection or the grand jury meeting because of the fact that he said that before they even had that investigation at all. So
Mhm.
it doesn't surprise me. We've reported on this before, like Wanda Lewis is saying, 13 in custody deaths were exonerated by the grand jury, and they do it quick. They
All at
do it.
one
It'd be
time.
one day, 1 hour, 2 hours, and they just are throwing stuff. So it doesn't even feel like an investigation at all. And I'm sure that they're influenced by Don Klein, county attorney, who looks at it first and already declares that they didn't do anything wrong, and then that kind of taints how the thing goes. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of questions that need to be answered there when it comes to to all of that. it seems that there's never a time when it's not justified some kind of way.
Yeah.
Mama God is saying if police eventually get immunity, then doesn't grand jury process for these actions end?
I don't know. I think that's a policy thing. So, although the whole immunity situation, that policy may have to change. I don't know. That's a great question, though.
They
That's a
have
great question.
they have qualified immunity already, and
Right.
it's just been made a law that they gotta have a grand jury, they have to, bring a grand jury together when there's a officer-involved shooting, but it just feels like a process that they go through. They already got qualified immunity, this that grand jury thing came after the fact. So,
It
yeah,
definitely
it's
feels like
messed up.
just
Mhm.
going through the motions. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
they're doing it for, like, the save face type of thing, you
Yeah,
know?
and ironically, or maybe unironically, but the only time where a grand jury really came back was a decision that seemed, not influenced by Don Klein was when Don Klein was not presiding over the whole grand jury process when they
Mm,
had the special prosecutor come in. So, um, take
yeah.
that for for what you want.
And also remember that Don Klein is in charge of the autopsies of these things as well too, so,
The
yeah,
whole process from beginning to end, man, Don Klein,
it's
like,
a farce.
yeah,
Celeste Butler says, "Then we have to push for police policies and the wording of intent to change."
big time.
Definitely part of that. Yeah, appreciate that very much. Thanks for everybody that's coming through. Anthony Rogers Wright says, "Qualified immunity is a Supreme Court ruling will be very hard to overturn, yeah, until something happens and then something changes in the Supreme Court, which doesn't look like it's gonna happen anytime soon."
Man, man,
Yeah.
man.
Let's see. Wanda Luz also says what they didn't do was to appoint a special selected prosecutor to the grand jury.
Yep.
They tried that once a few years back, and that brother got over the Skurlock case, and that brother got
Mhm.
really slammed. And
He
you hear
did.
nothing from him after that, and they just haven't been doing that since then. So yeah, messed up, man, messed up. We definitely have to keep following this and figuring out what's going on. I can't wait to speak to Senator McKinney about this because it's all tied together. We see that it's all tied together. We can't even hardly get justice for anything that is going on with the killing of people by hands of police, and even with a chief that decides that a person needs to be fired. How many times has he fired people that and then they came right? They had to come right back because
Man,
of the union and everybody else that pushed for them to be back. I can't imagine firing somebody and then they come back to the job. I got to still be their boss after I fired them first time.
man, and not just that, but what about the people that they have to patrol? We'll be talking about that with officers in day house here in a second. Speaking of the qualified immunity and the Giglia list, and once an officer gets in trouble, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like? What does that mean? Do they get in trouble at all, or do they just go back to work, as we see
Right.
with the Zendaya situation? So, let's take a quick break, kind of smell the coffee beans for a second, and
Okay.
what you thinking? What you
Yeah,
thinking?
we can do that. Yep. Let's take a quick break. It is 7:38 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. If you're just joining us, we were anticipating JaKeen Fox to come in and talk about a new news venture called Dreamland Report. And yeah, so we'll look forward to talking to him and also the senators, Senator Terrell McKinney, Senator Justin Wayne. Hopefully they will be joining us today as well. We got a lot of questions about some of the things that's going on in a real way.
Man,
Stay tuned. I see Brianna Full in the chat. Good morning. Appreciate you coming through this morning. She says, "Thank y'all so much for donating to Jaden's fundraiser. We reached our goal in less than 48 hours."
man,
Shows you the love this brother got in the community so shout out
big
to
time.
Jaden, man. Yeah. He's definitely one of them cats, man, you see everywhere doing the work. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So yeah, part of it. So yeah, we'll take a quick break and come right back. First guy Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
Paul B. That's me.
I'll be
Buddy the God. That's him. Man, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, buddy to God. All of you, appreciate everybody jumping into the chat this morning. Stacy Jean in the chat, good morning, says, I was pleased to hear that Jaden's goal was reached. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Shout out to everybody that helped him out. We'll definitely check in. Brieful, if you're still here, let us know. We're definitely gonna be talking to the family, talking to him, making sure that he got everything he need, even though the goal is reached. There's always hidden costs. There's always all kinds of things that you don't prepare
Mhm.
for with our healthcare system around here
Man.
in a big way. So let us we'll check in and make sure that he got everything he needs as well. Continue out there, continue to fight. That's what's up.
Yeah, positivity.
Somebody asked earlier, when is Don Klein up for re-election? Do we want to wait? Do we want to wait? Tony Johnson says
Man.
term ends 2027, so 2026. Yeah. I've heard some people trying to say we need to cut this short.
Man.
Got to cut it short. So yeah, we got to see what's up. That's what Anthony Rodriguez said. He spoke to Comrade Jaden on Friday. That's what's up, man. He said high spirits, was joking, and he's ready. Man,
Okay. Nice,
love
nice.
to hear
Thank you
that.
for that.
Appreciate the
Thank
report.
you for that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even beyond the finances of treatments and things like that, just sending love messages to keep his energy high. So glad to hear that his spirits are high, and yeah, anything we can do to help, we're here.
Yeah, I love walking into some of these rooms and some of these meetings and stuff, and then seeing Brother Jaden's fro in the back, like, okay, we
Man,
got
all
some people
right.
here. We got some people here.
I got the folks in here. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
So,
big shout out.
mhm.
But yeah, keeping it moving.
Yeah, let's do that. Like I said, special guest JaKeen Fox. He's anticipated to come in here in a few minutes, so we'll jump into a quick story before we do that. What's next on the agenda,
Yeah.
buddy?
Yeah, and I'll tee it up like this, man. Local journalism, citizen journalism. We need local community voices to add to these stories, to add to the conversation, because there's levels, there's angles, there's elements to the conversation that we might miss. And big shout out to the brother Sherman Wells for bringing this to my attention, because this is a story that I did see. This is a story that I kind of glossed over. Didn't feel like it would be of much relevance to what we're doing here at First Sky Omaha. If you don't know, again, there was a domestic situation in Midtown that led to a shooting. Police was involved with the shooting, which is always something that you look into. But since it was a domestic situation, didn't really talk about it. Again, we know domestic isn't. Yeah, there's a lot to be talked about as far as domestic goes. But the big thing is who was involved with this police shooting, which is very interesting. Again, big shout out to brother Sherman Wells for pointing out that Officer Noah Zendejas was the officer involved in this shooting with this domestic situation that actually led to someone losing their life. And again, Officer Noah Zendejas is the same officer who was responsible for the Stephen Phipps situation. And the question was posed, when did officers in Zendejas get back on the streets?
And what streets is he back on?
Man, man. Very, very interesting situation with this. Again, the officers involved also Noah Zendejas and Pablo Jimenez opened their door and shot at the individual. Officers did return fire. Officers acted heroically, according to Chief Schmaderer, placing themselves in harm's way to save a hostage. The involved officers responded effectively, drawing on their training, and made a quick decision to intervene in a rapidly evolving dangerous situation. But again, that's according to Chief Schmaderer. But again, very interesting hearing the side, hearing the angle, hearing the perspective from Brother Sherman Wells, who again is just a community member, a concerned community member who seems to always get the scoop on what's going on. And without getting into too much of the graphics, basically, Sherman mentioned that these officers fired on someone who's already deceased. Let's just say that, and kind of pointing to the trigger happy nature of the Omaha police, and just bringing up a lot of questions as far as the litigation process. Again, we're already talking about qualified immunity. What is the process, and how did this officer get back on the streets? Is the main question that I'm asking. Aside from this story, again, domestic situations very, very tragic, and police should have stepped in in this situation. But again, here we are, the same officer involved in yet another shooting.
Yeah, and according to Sherman Wells, like I said, I definitely highly encourage you to go and check out Sunday's sermon with Sherman that he posted last night. He talked about this. Apparently, he's on the South Side. They put him back on the South Side, and that's where he is back working. This police officer. So it's something to pay attention to. And he always reminds me that Sherman always reminds me, like, know their names, know where they're working,
Man,
know who they are,
man.
know their faces. These are all very important things to do because you kind of got to act accordingly. Unfortunately, if you got some trigger happy police officers involved in things each time, so yeah, it's definitely a messed up situation. Like brother Anthony Rogers right earlier in the chat was saying, it has to go all the way up to Supreme Court when it comes to this qualified immunity. And also, Mama God said, I thought the new administration desires full immunity. Yeah, I think we can be looking and going in that direction as well. So, so they're gonna have to, something's gonna have to happen there. Something's
Yeah,
gonna have to give on that.
yeah, and I mean, my thoughts are definitely jumping to the senators as far as, okay, what fight? How can we fight and push for a man, citizen review board with something with some teeth, man. Like we definitely have to continue on that conversation and not keep allowing the police to police themselves, because as we see, this process isn't working. This
Yeah,
process isn't working, and also again pointing out the need for more black voices in the media space.
I'm glad you just teed that up because speaking of black voices in the media space, we got special guests coming in right now. Ben, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, brother JaKeen Fox is in the chat.
Hey.
Good
Y'all
morning.
are
Good morning.
so funny with these introductions.
Jakeem be singing, as we like to
Time,
call him around
yeah.
here.
Sorry, I don't know how my lighting is, but I'm glad to be here. Yeah, it's been a little bit, so I'm glad to be back and sharing the space with you all in a new way.
That's
Yes,
what's up.
yes, yes, yes. I
First and
like that. I like
foremost,
that
bro,
shirt right there. I like
I
that.
was gonna say first and foremost, you're gonna have to look. I tell you this every time I see you. You're gonna have to help me out with my wardrobe. You're up in the morning with a velvet green top on
I
that
like
is
that.
fly as I mean, come on, bro. You
I
just get
like
up,
that.
just wake up fly like this. Just
It really is a lifestyle. So yeah, it's not a choice. It's not a choice
man.
anymore. It's just
Ah, the, the
it's a way of being. Yeah.
the consummate socialite. Wouldn't
Yeah, I
expect
wake up.
anything
I
less.
do wake up like that, indeed. No, I'm playing.
Clean.
I appreciate the compliments. No, anytime. Yeah, we can always get together and do that. We can do
Man.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, for those who don't know, again, we're online on air with Brother JaKeen Fox, again, founder, as you see on the screen, of the Dreamland Report, which we're
Yes.
going to be talking about today. But community organizer, journalist, been doing a lot in the community. Man, putting some thought provoking pieces down on Medium.com. Definitely check out his work over there. But yeah, as I mentioned, we're here to talk about the new thing. Just but before that, just how's life, man? How's everything going?
Oh man, I think life is lifing. It is wild. Obviously, we just got, turned upside down just a couple of
Yeah,
days ago. So, well, some of us did. So maybe some of us expected this, but
Mm.
yeah, I think staying the course, really like amplifying the mission, digging deep, and like understanding your purpose and why it matters. I think that's the most important piece that I've been working
man.
on personally this year. I turned 36, so I'm like, I got to get serious about something, and I think this is
Hey,
it. Yeah, so life has been good. Yeah, definitely.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I'm here for that as far as the moving in purpose, moving with intent. So what is the purpose? What's the intent behind this new endeavor, the Dreamland Report? Apparently, this point in life has brought you to this. So, yeah, what's the spiel? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, well, personally, I feel like journalism is really like the culmination of all of the work I've done
Mm,
up until this point. Like the way that I did community organizing, the way I try to do facilitation and like reparative services in our community. Like it's all about the conversation that we're having, the messaging that we're having, and how we're able to really build a narrative that affirms us and empowers us to do like some radical self determination. And like through all of the work I've done in collaboration with so many amazing people, I felt like what's a part of the work that needs more support, that has an opportunity to like, how can I fill a gap? not to recreate a wheel, but to really like insert myself purposefully in the work that I think is necessary. And so, like through understanding how narrative building is really an essential function of like organizing and like understanding ourselves, I felt there was an opportunity to really get into that work. So I founded the Dreamland Report, whose mission is really to produce credible journalism that serves Black Omahans specifically, to inspire radical self-determination and to inform residents at every literacy level. So we're really interested in telling stories that the community is already talking about and building more context around the conversation that we're having. We believe that Black people exist on every side of an issue. We don't have to go outside of our community to understand the things that we're talking about. There are amazing, intelligent, brilliant people all throughout our community on both sides of an issue. And that's the conversation that I think we should be platforming and really understanding that we have the solutions inside of ourselves. So really excited to work on this mission, excited to be in partnership with First Sky. Paul is a member of our board, which we're really happy to have and keep our media ecosystem building and really close together. So we're working in tandem. So I'm just really excited about the opportunity and to fill that gap that I think is really data-driven journalism in our community. We have really interesting conversations. A lot of our information is passed through oral tradition, and I think we want to affirm that, but also like ensure that we're able to inject that credible information, that credible journalism that helps us have a better conversation, which has been really exciting to start.
Big time, man. Yeah, definitely exciting. Actually, speaking of that excitement, there's some people responding in the chat. Marlon Harrison says, "Are you doing more of those panel-like videos? If so, how can I be a part of the next one?" And I kind of wanted to extend that. I saw you also did the election day video, so there's some panels, some multimedia things. So what will this thing look like coming out of Dreamland Report?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. So, the way that we're going to be launching our information is through a drop. So, every time we release a story, we want to make sure that we have a 360 view of that story to again ensure that everybody that wants to engage with the information can. So, we'll have multiple approaches to this storytelling. So, for example, with the Black voter focus group that you're seeing on the screen now, you'll have a YouTube video which showcases the entire conversation that we had with the spectrum of amazing like Black thinkers, like progressive, moderate, conservative. I had to look really hard to find that conservative voice, those a couple conservative voices, but they were a big presence in that conversation, and we had a really great engagement and dialogue before the election. We also offered that in our own journalism through the Medium article that was attached to that. And we also have a Spotify account. So there's an audio version as well. So we want to make sure that anyone that wants to engage with that information can, and do it in a way that really affirms how their style of getting news. So we're excited to expand that even more. This is just kind of like the bare bones example of what we can do with more support, more resources. We can expand the way that we deliver the news. So we're excited to do that.
Great, great. And we just dropped the email in the chat. Is that the best way for anybody who wants to get involved to reach out?
Yeah, we're on every platform. So I think you have a link for our Linktree account, which shows all of our social media accounts. If you want to tell us a story, if you think there's something that we should be talking about, investigating, we want to do that. We want to hear from you all. So this is one way to get in touch with us through email. Obviously, you can DM us or see us out in the community. I would love to talk to anyone that feels like they have something that needs to be said and brought to light for our community specifically. We have a Pan-African idea of what it means to serve Black Omahans. So we're thinking about ourselves in the full diaspora, but we're not afraid to platform and prioritize Native Black Omahans. So we're really excited to do the news that is serving that historically exploited and abandoned community and making sure that we serve ourselves in a good way.
Beautiful, beautiful. Paul, I know as JaKeen mentioned, you're part of the board. I know you've been, intimate as far as building this thing. Do you have any questions or anything that you wanted to point it to? Or point
Yeah,
to?
no, I think he's covering everything. Just explaining everything well. I know I will say that one of the reasons why he chose the board that he did, is because of the fact that he's choosing people that are in the scene here in media, and I love the collaboration part of it. You know us, we're all about collaboration.
Yep.
There's we need so much more media, especially black media. That it's, anytime anybody wants to come in and they want to work with us, together, that's the main deal for me, and that's the reason why I wanted to be involved. Not only because of JaKeen and his reputation for journalism and all the work that he's been doing ever since. He hit my radar real hard, Freedom Summer 2020, because he was
Man.
we're in season 1B right now. Journalism is activism, and the reason why we're doing this is because we need to that information first in order to get to some action. And I feel like he's the epitome of that. So I'm glad to be in this group. He's definitely got he got some heads in the group they can have some opposing ideas. We need that. One of the first things that went down is a community member was saying, "Hey, I think you guys are about to write something about me," and kind of reached out, and I was able to say, I agree or disagree. I don't know if I agree or disagree with what's being written. I'm still supporting the effort behind what's happening, and to me, that's
Mhm.
the important part, is that we can even have disagreements within the situation. But the point is that we all, especially in Black Omaha, need the information. So
Yeah.
I'm just real happy that he's doing what he's doing, and look forward to the collaboration as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I wanted to say just about the board, you're right. I chose you all for different reasons. But the main reason that you all share is that you're deeply connected to our community in different ways. And I think reflect the diversity of thought, the diversity of opinion that we're trying to build a platform for with the Dreamland Report. We aren't a monolith on any issue. And I think it's best that we are able to curate the conversations that we are already having and have those in a mature, like really developed way. So like we're just inspiring that new conversation, engaging in that with more people. We want to introduce the community to a range of the people that already exist inside of here. I think there are so many traditional and legacy medias. They go to the same person every time on every issue every year. You can expect to see that name. There is so much brilliance in our community, and I want to make sure that we're platforming that as much as possible.
That's what's up.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm kind of curious as far as the issues. Like, what are some of the things that you anticipate being talked about? Some of the stories are the stories that you kind of already have an eye out for, or what is that process?
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways to think about it. One, like for example, obviously with the changing in administrations right now, we'll have to be making sure that we're watching politics and government, that we're able to disseminate information that helps us address each issue specifically that's going to affect us as a community here locally. So we'll definitely have an eye on that. You saw that with the start of that Black voter focus group. That's the conversation that we want to continue. Obviously, we
Okay.
want to get people's feelings following the results of the election and see how people are faring. So we'll see more of that coverage in December. We want to make sure that we'll do stories that correct the narrative, like the story I did on the Flatwater Free Press article on the historic like Bryant Center courts.
Hmm.
They lionized one character. I mean, one person. Excuse me, I shouldn't say character. It read like a character, but this is a great person in the community, Josh Jones.
Yep. Shout
Um,
out to Josh.
but they gave him a lot of. They singularly focused on his efforts for the Bryant Center courts, and we knew that those things have been programmed by a ton of people in our community over the years. And I wanted to make sure that we corrected a bad narrative that was given about our community, that we would let something so historic like the Bryant Center courts just be lay defunct in that way. So we wanted to make sure that we affirmed all the many people that had been programming those courts and correcting the narrative and making sure that everyone got the credit that they deserved. So we'll do stories like that. We'll make sure that we hold local media accountable for the way that they talk about North Omaha and the Black community in general, and we'll correct the narrative when we need to. And we'll do obviously other issues that are important to our community, like education, again, politics and government. We may even dabble into some of the sports arena. We'll figure
Yeah.
out some of that stuff as we go. We want to make sure we cover important issues, obviously city government, local government, and those kinds of issues. Yeah, so we'll make sure we stay on that and have a lens on how it's impacting Black communities specifically.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Well, I'm definitely sure there will be things to talk about, especially with the kind of police brutality and some of the other things. I'm sure education is going to be a conversation that's going to heat up over the next year or so. So definitely looking forward to that. But going to the chat to pivot a little bit, this is something that we always like to talk about here. Following the money is one of our tenets on the show. Brother Michael Watts is asking what groups are funding this effort.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And after 2020, my relationships in local philanthropy have been tough. We held a lot of people during that time, and we're seeing some of the consequences of that, which I totally accept and appreciate as part of the important work that we did during 2020. We had one singular seed funder for this, which was the Sherwood Foundation, which was surprising in the amount of support that they were able to offer. Especially with the amount of accountability journalism that we expect to do. So we had that one seed funding and it allowed us to build a brand, to start our community engagement process, which will engage stakeholders, individuals, focus groups on how people want to receive the news and how we can continue that great tradition that Noise started through Sherwood and the Weiss Family Foundation. But we expect to see more support coming from regional and national funders. I spent most of the year building those relationships in conferences and through leadership groups, I should say. And I want us to be able to have an expansive view of how we build our funding so that we're not beholden at all to anyone in our local area, so we can do the right news. So that's the work that we need to do through building more national and regional connections, but also our community fundraiser that we're hosting right now. I think you all have the donation link, but we're looking to build community support. Any amount will help. And we'll run this through the end of the year, but we want the most community support possible because you all are the people that we want to be beholden to, that we want to be responsible to give our report to. So that's who's funded us currently. We had a one-time gift from the Sherwood Foundation, and we're looking to build our support both in our community and through our other connections.
Right on. Just want to remind everybody in the chat, we are trying to respect the fact that we have a guest on, and we hope that you will come with us on the conversation with them. I would love to hear some good comments, some good questions. I appreciate that question on the follow the money. It was definitely going to be one of our follow the money questions that we're going to do too. So yeah, and if you want to discuss things further, stay with us past the 8 o'clock hour, which will have further discussion on some things, or like I like to say these days, take it outside. Contact each other and have the conversations you want to have on your platforms and with each other. And let's respect that we have a guest on and that we're in a certain mode of conversation. So appreciate everybody who's joined us and has done that and ask some good questions, and we'll continue to ask those questions. I like the fact that you're talking about the raising, launching the campaign for us to donate. We're on that tip too. We got to take the loot where we can, especially in situations where we're trying to build something from scratch this way. But a lot of times, we had to come into this situation knowing that we weren't going to be able to depend on any of that. Why would we? This is for the people, and we want the people to be able to help us to make sure that they support us as well. The people are the most important support that we have. So first of all, for First Sky Omaha, shout out to all our people that donate on a reoccurring basis. And I highly encourage you to go to this Dreamland report page as well and do the same. Go ahead and donate and support this. If we don't think it's important, then nobody else will feel like it's important or take it seriously. So we have to remember that. And, I feel like we're talking to the kind of people in the crowd that understand that part. You guys are here because we need to have some conversation, and we need our own news, and we need our own voices, and so on and so forth. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate your approach too. Get the money where we can and get it fired up, and then get self-sustained as quickly as possible. It's just like any other business. You take out a loan from the bank to get started, and then you start making sure that you get profitable and sustainable. So we highly encourage that everybody do that. We'll continue to preach that because we're on that, man. It's got to be for us, by us, for real.
Yeah, we want to, and obviously, like we're not scared to maintain our integrity, our journalistic integrity. Just because we receive money from the Sherwood Foundation, that does not make us beholden to them. One of the things we value is transparency, because we're asking other folks for transparency. So we'll always have a report about the money that we get. You'll always understand who our funders are, who's supporting us. That'll always be transparent line items on our website when that launches. And you'll see, again, through every annual report, how we're spending our money and what your money goes to. So, again, it would be amazing to be able to say, like, if someone asks that question the next time, who's funding you? If we say we're supported by our community.
Yeah.
Right, you know, that changes the game and our credibility
Yeah.
and the way that we're able to tell stories and the way that our stories are perceived and respected. So if we're able to not even have any ties to what people could feel or controversial funding, you know, sources, if we're able to just say we're funded by our community, that gives us you know, a leg up on the competition. So if we can say that through your support, I'd love that. But yeah, in the meantime, we are going to do what's responsible fiscally and go out and get money that supports the kind of journalism that we're doing, which is solutions based, which is data driven, and credible. So we're excited to do that.
Man,
I like what you call accountability journalism too. That is sticking with me big time.
yeah. Speaking of also just outlets and resources that support Black voices, a shout out to Brother Anthony Rogers right in the chat, kind of sharing a resource. He says, one of my favorite national funders for Black journalism. They have hooked me up and many other amazing Black journalists. He dropped a link in the chat. Might want to check that out. Wordinblack.com. So wordinblack.com / racial equity. So yeah, check it out.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much.
One last question before we let you go. We got another special guest coming on in. Michael Watts is asking, what will be the frequency of articles dropped?
Yeah, depending on the kinds of stories that we'll do, we hope to have at least 1 to 2 drops each month. These will be more investigative style, data driven again, and again with the widest scope of ways that people can engage with that information. So as we're funded by community, we'll expand the kinds of drops that we'll do, but we want to make sure that we have time to build, you know, it's kind of called slow journalism, where it's not breaking news. We're not turning stories every day, but we're really going in depth on the issue in a way that, again, builds power for our community and helps people make better decisions for themselves. So it'll be a depth of information. It'll be a wide multimedia approach to getting that information. And we hope to do that again, like 1 to 2 times, maybe 3 times a month.
That's what's
nice.
up. Appreciate that, man. I'm loving the ecosystem that's being built here. You
Man.
know, we've got Omaha Star that is going to do some positive spins on some things that's going on in our neighborhood. If you want that daily, go to Nebraska Examiner, who's doing the good work there. You want that in depth, go to Dreamland Report. You know what I'm saying? You want to discuss it, come to First Sky Omaha. Like, the ecosystem is happening in a big way, and I really appreciate that. And I'm proud to be part of it. So
Man,
appreciate that, man. I'm gonna put the link tree back in the thing again. You guys hit that link tree and really kind of go through all of those links so you can see what's going on. I highly encourage you to go to YouTube and check that talk out, because I was highly entertained. I was like, man, the way that it was cut, and you know, Brother Kasim would say something, somebody would look like this at him, and I was just like, this is perfect.
Man,
yeah, we can't wait to do more of that. The reactions were great, the trailer's great, but the conversation's even better because everyone had a perspective that they felt passionate about, and we had some good conversation, and we can't wait to do more of that.
Big time. And I also want to give a shout out, speaking of Black media, to Stable Gray, who's, you know, helped put that together. So
yes,
yeah,
sir.
Shout out community. Man, teamwork making the dream work. That's what it looks like, y'all, in real time.
Love it.
Real time.
All right, brother. We're gonna have you back frequently, I'm quite sure.
To
continue these discussions. So I appreciate you getting them this morning, coming on.
Thank you for having me. I
appreciate you coming on here getting slicker than me, though.
Well, you already knew that was gonna happen. I just be telling people, like, if you know I'm coming, why are you not getting dressed? You know I was gonna be there.
I can't deny it. You're right.
You knew you was gonna feel away.
All right, bro. I'll catch up with you soon, man.
All right, bro.
Peace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we're gonna let our special guest jump in. Let me see if I can grab him real quick. Senator Terrell McKinney is in the house next.
Hey,
morning to you, bro. How you doing, man?
You got to say it right. Newly reelected Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Man, I'm doing good.
I mean, under the circumstances, you know. I keep going back to what you said a few shows back, man. We were like, none of this matters. We can't depend on nothing. We can't put no hopes in no politicians. What we got to do is keep on fighting, keep on pushing.
Yeah, man. Definitely was a surprising week, I would say. But
Really?
honestly, I wasn't like I was 50-50. Like if I'm being
Yeah.
truthful, like I would kind of be surprised either way, for
Yeah.
the country to elect, a woman as president, and for the country to elect dude back as president. It wasn't. I mean, really, when you look at it, it wasn't all that. Although, like nobody, I ain't gonna say nobody because people voted for him, but I didn't want it to happen. But it is what it is. We still
Yeah.
was gonna be fighting no matter what. So we just gotta get ready.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
real. Man, you kind of so internet kind of sticky there. If you got any, are you using your phone? If you got any other things open on your phone, you might want to try to close it down so you can your
No, I'm
internet's
on my
got you set.
laptop. Let me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you might want to jump on your phone.
Yeah, laptop. If you got Windows up on your laptop, then it makes it the internet goes a little bit slower.
All right.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. I'm seeing. I was just going to jump in the chat real quick while you're looking at that. Also, let's see who's I talking about. Gwen Easter said was that was she was talking to JaKeen there. So I appreciate that respectful conversation. Yeah, no, I'm gonna we'll keep rolling. We'll keep rolling. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was getting addressed here. So
Yep.
yeah, shout out. I was kind of I'm interested in what you're saying, man. 50-50. Like I kind of felt like that was like you had a little bit of surprise, is what you're saying about this.
Sort of. I mean, sort of. I guess I would say sort of. I mean, but also was feeling the energy of like these people really ain't about to go for this, and I felt that too. So, but the energy and like it was just a feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It was just a feeling uh, of just like the energy coming towards her. To be honest,
Yeah.
it was like never letting up. No, and not to say she was right all the time or they made all the right moves, but even if they made a right move, it was a wrong move. I'll say
Mm.
that. So
So
that's kind of how I looked at it, where I wasn't super surprised because I ain't saying they did everything right or everything was great at all, but at the end of the day, even if I felt like something was like, okay, this is probably not bad, it still became bad no matter what. So
mm,
Mhm.
it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
It could have been messaging strategy, a lot of things, but it just didn't seem like nothing was sticking as far as like any efforts to kind of fight back against whatever was being said.
Yeah, I kind of had this conversation with a relative recently. Actually seeing several social media posts as far as the vote, and speaking specifically of Kamala and Trump, saying Trump didn't really get many more votes than he got in 2016. It was Kamala who didn't get as many votes as Biden. Essentially saying Democrats didn't show up and vote, like Democrats didn't vote. Essentially, what are your thoughts on that?
I
As
think
far
the
as
truth is Democrats did vote. I think the truth is some of them just didn't vote for a Democrat. Like
Mm,
like the same way it was closet Trump supporters in 2016. I think the same existed today, last
mm,
week.
Dinos.
I think
I,
they right among us sometimes.
or some people might not have voted at all. I think that's truthful too. But I also think there was people who voted the other way.
Yeah. You won your reelection. Did you have any numbers on that? Was it by a long shot? Was there any was there how much pushback did you get as far as other people? I think Ernie Chambers was the right. We talked about Ernie Chambers being the right end. Was that
Mhm.
ever a threat? Have you spoken
Uh,
to him?
Last time I looked at it, it was like 300 and some votes or something like that. It's about.
Mm,
I mean, no, I haven't talked to him. I wish him nothing but the best. At the end of the day, election is an election. I don't like hold I like none of this is personal. It's for the community. So I mean, I don't hold no ill will towards him or
mhm.
anything like that. I wish him nothing but the best and whatever he does going forward. So I mean, it was what it was. That's why I didn't try to dwell on it a lot. I always like was like, I'm gonna just stick to like my mission and doing what I'm supposed to do, and wherever the chips fall, they fall. I mean, yeah, it was some write-in votes, but it was a lot more votes casted for me, so I'm
Mhm.
appreciative of that as well.
That's what's up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely see the community just kind of rally around your campaign. Seeing signs everywhere. And obviously the votes reflected that. And now that the campaign trail is behind you, what are you kind of taking time to decompress? Are you getting away from it all? Are you hitting the ground running? Where are you now?
Kind of both. This
Okay.
weekend I just chilled out with the fam and with my daughter and just tried to get some rest. But also took some time to start thinking about bills and what bills need to be drafted or things I want to introduce going into the next year. So, kind of getting into that mind of like what will be the 20 bills that come for me next year. So just thinking about that. And I want to focus on still like the same core 4 to 5 things, and just mainly economics, criminal justice, education, healthcare, things that help improve the community. All those type of things is things I'm thinking about.
Big time, big time. Well, actually, I do want to kind of dive into some of those issues, if that's all right. But before then, Paul, did you have anything, any
Sure.
No,
questions?
no, I was going. That's where I was going next. Was some of the stuff I wanted to ask about, especially with these police involved shootings and so on.
Yep. That's definitely top of mind for me. Of course, we've seen the grand jury decision. We talked about it a little earlier in the show. Grand jury wrapping up actually 13 other custody deaths in this decision. But of course, the big one is the murder of Brother Cameron Ford being ruled as justified. Um, what are your thoughts on the grand jury process in Nebraska? Calls for a special prosecutor. Is there any way to change that? How can we address this process and just police brutality in general?
I mean, the grand jury process is not great at all. I mean, you got the same dude that comes out and says like the officer did nothing wrong is the same person going in presenting the case to the grand jury.
And
That's
just let's dig into that a little bit. Like, so is he presenting the evidence to like he just lays out the case for them?
He's the prosecutor. He's the one that is supposed to. The prosecutor is supposed to convince the grand jury that charges is to be filed. But
Wow.
how could he convince anybody when he's coming out and saying that he doesn't think the officer did anything wrong? How are you going to present a case?
Oh my God.
So, Senator Wayne introduced a bill a couple years ago to like say during if an officer involved shooting happens, it's an automatic special prosecutor. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna bring that back to try to get it passed because I think it's needed. It's clear that the county attorney is biased, and if people if we can't get the signatures or whatever to get them recard or whatever, we got to try to do something on a legislative level
Mhm.
try to hold them accountable.
Man, yeah. I mean, big time. And as far as that process, that's still not out of question. As far as the signature process, is that something that we'll have to go through the county for, or is that at the state level?
Say that again.
As far as getting enough signatures to remove Don Klein, is that something that has to be
I mean,
done at the
that's on the
county level?
county level. That's the people. Got to get organized and mobilized to get that done. It's a lot of signatures though, but nothing is impossible to be honest.
Yeah, as you see on the screen,
Yeah,
180 to 190,000 signatures. Man, that is a lot. That is a lot. Um, Man, yeah,
Yeah.
that's an uphill battle. Try to wrap your head around, what to do, but something definitely has to be done because let me see, Stacy Jean, thank you, Sister Stacy Jean in the chat saying definitely a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it's so corrupt. That's so crazy.
Man, I
And then
mean,
he's in charge of the autopsies and everything too. On top of that, like,
exactly. I was just gonna say that exactly.
yeah, that's incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We watched a Sunday sermon with Sherman last night, and he mentioned that you were that's the that you said you were speaking about that. Like, how can this be a situation where there's any kind of fairness if he's already if Don Klein is already declaring that the officer did nothing wrong, like where's the justice there? So those bills that you said that Senator Wayne will push for, and the stuff that you're working with now, that's that's the efforts to try to get this get him out of the way, or make it fair. And what exactly, how exactly would it do that?
It would. So if an officer involved shooting happens, in the grand jury, because during the officer involved shooting, the grand jury process is automatic. So once that happens, a special prosecutor would be appointed if the bill gets passed, instead of Don Klein going in and doing it. Like, because not only did he come out and say that, like, the dude supported by the OPOA.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's so many issues here that, I don't see why it's not a no-brainer to have a special prosecutor.
I'll never forget that party they had for him when he left the Democratic Party and joined the Republican Party. It was the biggest party that was in Omaha at the time.
Man,
And also reminded me of Freedom Summer when people, I think JaKeen was efforts to go in and stalk and sitting out in front of his house, like
Yeah.
he got to change up.
They was in his neighborhood.
Right.
man, post it. Yeah, I
Post
remember
it
that
up.
for like a month, over a month. So
Yep.
yeah, shout out to JaKeen for that one.
I forgot to say something to him
And
about it.
man, we might need to revisit that. I don't know. We might need to pull up on the block again.
We got to have some different strategies this time around. That's real. And
Man,
I like what he's doing. Cheryl Weston in the chat. Good morning. If you guys don't know about Conversations with Cheryl Weston, please go
check
check
him
her
out.
page out as well.
Yeah.
Said the officer is still employed with the chief. Is said the officer should be fired. We've been here
Yeah.
before with that. Zachary
Yeah,
Blair.
but that's not surprising. Although the chief could recommend a termination, that contract, that police union contract allows for arbitration. A lot of those officers get back on the police force. So yeah, he could say I recommend this termination, but at the end of the day, that union contract is keeping people on that shouldn't be on. So it's a lot of things that need to happen. I think we need to not only make sure like a special prosecutor is appointed. We need improve police oversight that's independent, that can investigate the police, because it's clear that the Omaha police can't police themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
I know we want to wait on the legislature to do something, but I mean, things can happen on the city council level. I just think not to say I won't introduce the bill, because I will. I have no problem holding the cops accountable, and I will anyway
Mm-hmm.
introduce the bill. But I'm saying, like, things could happen sooner than that if we push for it, because the legislative process is the legislative process.
Mm-hmm.
The bill probably, if passed, which is an uphill battle, ain't gonna be in effect until September of next year.
And even still,
E-clause, yeah.
Even still, they might not follow the law. I mean, we seen that happen and take it to Supreme Court. I mean, there's definitely, even if it becomes a bill that's not a done deal, as we've seen in the past.
So let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What does it look like with city? What does that look like to go to city council with it?
I mean, try to figure out a resolution or ordinance to improve whatever that citizen review board is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's definitely my thoughts. I mentioned it earlier, but even as I was mentioning it, it was just kind of like, but we know there ain't no teeth to that board. Like, yes, we've had this conversation before. Like, how? Yes, there should be a citizen review board. Yes, there should be some kind of community oversight of police, and not just the Omaha Police Officers Association in their litigation process. We know that that's not working. But how do we add teeth to it? How do we lay in? This is very interesting with, the mayor's chief of staff being a black former police chief. Man, very interesting to see the lack of representation for the people on the city level.
This is also very interesting. Stetsy G in the chat saying I had Don Klein as a teacher for business ethics class many moons ago, which I find laughable with the way that things are currently playing out. The triple K Klein guy is the type of racist some love, or so I've heard. Switching parties again, some like to ignore the bigotry migration pattern. That's a great comment. Yeah, this is incredible. And you've been saying this, brother McKinney. You've been saying this for a minute about about the problem with Don Klein. You're seeing it up close and personal. So yeah, I totally feel that. Anthony Rogers right earlier in the chat made a correction on the number. He says, "My bad, y'all. It's 80,000 to 90,000 signatures needed to make
Okay.
that happen. It's a little bit more doable than 180, 190. I think.
Yeah,
I think
but
about like
still the number.
still the number, still a good number. And I don't know who's taking up the mantle for that initiative, but that's a strategy. We just talked about 3 strategies to try to straighten things out in that process. So the city council's one part of it. What Senator McKinney, what you're doing in the legislature is another part of it. Signatures here in order to make the change right away is another part. I mean, there's something that we can do here. Is my point. There's some action that can be taken, and I feel like all things kind of point to the situation. And when it comes to him, it always comes down to that. If we hear there's a police involved shooting, Don Klein name got to come back up again every time. So
Yeah. Cheryl Weston coming with the can-do attitude, which I appreciate. She says racism, or excuse me, she says the needed signature to recall Klein may appear to be daunting, but the Coalition for Justice recalled Boyle as mayor for using the N-word. It can be done.
Forgot about that. I love it.
It's definitely not impossible. I think it needs to be a full campaign. I think an all hands on deck approach. It can't be half. Like it has to be a full campaign to get it done. But I don't think it's impossible. I think if organized properly, it could be done for sure.
Yeah. Actually, speaking to that, Anthony Rogers Wright says it needs to be a full campaign. Recalling Klein needs to be treated like electing a candidate. I like that comparison.
Let's get the funds up.
Man, also, brother Peyton Zyla in the chat. Good morning to you. He says it absolutely has to come from the city level. The citizen board should have enhanced powers and be tied to the public safety auditor, as well as the board should be appointed by city council instead of the mayor. So much more conversation to be had. And actually, this is kind of reminding me of something. My thought was, how can we help you as far as passing bills? And you mentioned that actually getting some changes on the city level would help you as preparing to pass something on the state level, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, even if it fell through on the city level, I think having that action step being taken on a city level gives more, in my opinion, more power to say, okay, it might not have passed on the city level, but now I have some evidence that people want it. Like if people show up and testify and those type of things, and it gives more credence to it to be pushed on a state level. So I'm not saying everything needs to be. I'm not trying to pass the buck, but I do think if things could start on a city level, it helps on a state level because it allows me to make stronger arguments to say this is something that people are pushing for, and it's not just one of the wild ideas I woke up with one day and just tried to introduce a bill.
Man.
Or if it passes, and just try to solidify it even more in the statutes. Say this got passed on the city level, and I think we should make sure that it's enshrined in the statutes. So it's multiple ways it could be helpful.
Yeah, I like hearing that.
Yeah.
We put a lot of like, man, I hope he wins and he stays in there. What are we gonna do if he's not in the legislation? And you're reminding us there's plenty that we can do outside of that, and the legislation is just one aspect, one thing that can happen in the process. One thing that needs to happen in the process. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. I'm already leaning on that. It's might be some time for some action on that. Might not even might be. It is. Yeah, it is.
And also remember the county level. We just through our conversations with Sister Yarborough, let's not let just her race keep the county commission on our mind. Don Klein, the sheriff, that's all under Douglas County. So yeah, let's make sure county commissioners, Rogers, I believe, is Boyle still a Douglas County commissioner? Not
His
sure. Like that.
daughter is, but I think she didn't run for reelection, so it might be somebody else.
Okay, so that's but the simple fact that we don't know, even you as a senator, you know what I'm saying, are not sure, kind of points to the fact that again the Douglas County Commission is not is hiding too deep in the shadows, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're gonna bring them. We're gonna try to bring them out and give them an opportunity to be a part of that. So that's what it is. Terry Crawford. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the chat saying, "Good morning, First Sky fan. Rumor has it Don Klein is not running again. Not confirmed. With or without him, the battle continues."
Yeah. If I'm not
Straight
mistaken, actually, your name might have been brought up, Sister Crawford, as a replacement.
But I think that means people need to pay attention to his number two.
And
He
you've
mentioned
been
that.
on here
Yeah.
saying she ain't right.
Because if you get the signatures and get them removed, the commissioners, I believe, select the replacement, and she is just as bad as him, in my opinion. So, and if he does decide not to run, I would not be surprised if she tries to run, and she's going to get a lot of support from the OPOA and other people too, because she's always right there with him. So we need to think about who do we want in that position as well, and how do we get that person in that position? Because whether it's another election or trying to convince the commissioners to select somebody, not her, we got to be ready for that fight.
Yeah. Brother Dave Pontos comes to mind, if I'm not mistaken. He ran against Klein last time. But yeah, Sister Terry Crawford, I think some people have mentioned your name as well. But yeah, succession planning, it's not just enough to get, organized to get what we don't want, but we gotta, what do we want? And let's move towards that direction. Speaking of that, I do want to pivot into education, because that was one of the big things that came out of the election as far as the school choice situation being repealed. I know that that was something that you were in support of as far as giving, um, options for families out there. What's next? Do you still look for other ways to offer more options, or do we go back to fixing public schools, or is it both?
I think, just being truthful, I think the people have spoken. So I believe we need to figure out ways to improve our public schools. I've already had 2 interim studies on how to close the achievement gap and looking at the district and looking at different numbers of like how our education system is impacting our kids. I think, if people don't want choice, then it is what it is. I think at the core of it, I always said we need to just figure out how do we make sure our kids are being educated properly. So that's my focus, is to try to look at ways to make sure we're educating our kids in the best way possible and trying to look at whatever the gaps are and try to fill them in some type of way. I even, like, at the hearing, I told like the educators association, I was like, look, a lot of times um, when senators introduce, not just myself, but when senators introduce bills around education, they come in, no matter the senator and no matter the party affiliation, they come in and say, you guys are wrong, or you guys don't know what you're talking about, or this isn't the right way. So I told them, I was like, look, if we don't get it, and if we don't understand or nothing, why aren't y'all putting options on the table that we could look at to explore to improve the education system? So, because if not, we're going to do our job and try to explore different options to try to improve it. But if y'all saying we don't get it and we don't understand, why aren't y'all coming to us with the solutions as well? Because it has to be a village. I think all hands on deck with education. So if we don't get it, maybe, and y'all keep telling us we don't get it, then what do y'all have that we are missing that can improve our schools? And that was my ask to them. It's like, if we don't get it, please share.
If you got all the answers, you don't have the answer, Sway.
Yeah, it's I was thinking about that too. Like the way that you approach things, it's always for the people. So you ain't be getting your feelings hurt if it goes a different way.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody got a better idea, then you're quick to jump on that. Let's do that then. And whatever the better idea is, let's do it. So I think that as far as like especially with the education piece, you guys have been on here before. You and Senator Wayne have been on talking about how the school system don't even take all the money that sometimes is offered them to make. So how do we make anything happen in OPS to make it better if they won't even accept more money when it's being presented and stuff like that?
I don't know. I mean, there's gonna be some changes. I mean, it's new people on the board.
Mm-hmm.
You got a new superintendent. Uh, there will be a new board president because the board president lost his reelection. I like. It's hard for me to be optimistic with OPS when I know the data and I've looked at the data, but everybody keep telling me be optimistic and give them a chance, and it's like I'm trying, but it's not a lot of room to work with here, giving them any type of like grace because the historical facts are the historical facts. Like it's hard to look. I can't look past it. I'm even gonna say it's hard too because I can't look past it, and it's impossible for me to give them grace. So I'm gonna continue to be hard on the school district that I represent, and I told them I am gonna. In my position as a senator, I believe it's my job to speak up for the people in the community and the kids in the community and hold y'all accountable and push buttons so y'all can be better. Like whether you like it or not, I'm going to push your buttons to try to improve the school system.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hear that.
yeah, big time, big time. I guess kind of a last thought for me on the school's, choice situation is if, to your point, OPS doesn't respond or, no real answers, like tangible, real changes and answers are found with OPS, is homeschooling an option. Of course, there's been, talk this whole private school situation has played out. Has there a talk or is there any ideas about support at the state level for homeschooling?
I mean, it ain't real. It ain't been too many talks. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
not really. I
Okay.
think because the reality is, at the end of the day, not a lot of parents can stay at home and homeschool.
Mhm.
It's just
True.
different times.
Yeah. We'll definitely continue that conversation. This the education part is an ongoing one, so I appreciate the stuff that you have to say about it now, and just trying to give. I mean, we're here now on the other side of this election when it comes to this, so now it really is, what can we do to help OPS get better? I like the little bit of hope that you're saying there when it comes to the fact that there's some new board members, there's some new people involved, new superintendent. Hopefully, there'll be some things that change if we can speak up loud enough and have better.
Yeah, but I think we have to continue to hold them accountable. I think we can't like let up just because there's new people coming in or there's a new superintendent because like I said, I cannot look past the historical landscape of this, and no matter the administration, our kids have are we are some of the I'm one of the kids that got failed, like Buddy
Mm.
is like. So no matter the administration, the issues have been the issues with disproportionate amount of black kids being suspended, low graduation rates, low test scores. Go down the list. No matter the administration, it's been a thing. So we can't get comfortable just because new people are coming in.
Right.
Other people are going out. I but I'm open to conversations with them to try to, do what I can to help. Like I'm not trying to stand in the way of progress, but the progress has to be positive and working in the best way for our kids. I think we all have a hand in trying to do what we can to help. So if I could listen to something and I could do something on my end to help, I'm willing to do it. Like I don't like that's where I'm at with it. Like I don't care
Mhm.
who's in front of me. If the mission is to help the kids, let's help the kids. Let's not harm them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And um, as I'm kind of hearing you answer this, and I'm thinking about like you named some of the issues, graduation rates, test scores, and things like that, and all those can be improved. And I'm thinking, but there's a lot of factors that impact all of that. And if we are being honest, yes, OPS does need to be improved, but there's things also outside of OPS's hands that also
Yeah,
need to be
yeah,
improved.
definitely.
Um,
And no, I agree with you on that too. And I've said that in hearings multiple times that it's not just the education system, it's the child welfare system,
mhm.
the juvenile justice system, it's
Economics.
it's the environment in our community, economics. It's a lot of factors, but if this is a village and education is a part of the village, we gotta like I'm also look at the child welfare system. Also look at the
Mhm,
juvenile justice system. I think we
mhm.
have to look at all systems and 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 evaluate how are they affecting our community and how can we improve them.
Yeah, and I was, that's kind of the direction I was going. Like, I definitely acknowledge that you aren't just focusing on the schools, you aren't just holding the schools accountable. You are looking at this thing from a holistic approach, which is, why I want to pivot to the Inland Port Authority. One of the economic things that, one of the tools that you are trying to push forward as far as, economic tool to help, these babies not have to worry about eating or not have to worry about, some of the economic things in the community that distract from school. Where is that situation? And actually, Cheryl Weston asking right on time. She says, "Please ask the senator to speak on the Omaha Inland Port Authority." So, yeah, where are
So
we?
the Inland Port Authority. So we had a meeting. Was it last Thursday? We did a few things. We appointed the last resident member of the community advisory committee. It's still
Nice.
technically one open spot, and that's the individual whoever will fill the seat in LD 13. Waiting for that
Mm,
election to
mm.
officially be called, but we've pretty much filled the community advisory committee except for that one seat. We put out an RFP for consultant for visioning and a pro forma for innovation district. Um, we also we took a vote to support removing the 2 mile restriction on the airport business park to allow for it potentially in the future for the business park to be developed within the inland port district somewhere in North Omaha, not just that one spot. Uh,
Mm.
we what else we do? Did
Uh,
you can ask a question? So
yeah, I did see a report talking about the Levi Carter Park. I believe like 30 plus million going to that project. Is that under the Inland Port Authority as well?
no, that's under the city.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Hmm.
but the
As
conversation
far
around
as
the business
but
part has it's just been a back and forth with the board and the grantees for the business park, OED Burlington Capital, because they haven't really answered a lot of the questions that the board has been asking for, and it's just been an issue going back and forth. And we had a conversation about, oh, yeah, I am. Bro. I closed all my windows. My bad.
It's all good.
it's kind of
It
choppy. Just
just be internet.
yeah, keep going.
Yeah, we can hear you.
But we had a conversation about amending their contract to so they because they in their testimony they said like we don't even have a concrete plan and none of these things, and it's like why would we give a letter of support for anything when you guys don't even have a concrete plan on what you're about to do, and you're going to do nothing but waste the people's money, you know what I mean? So trying to
Mm-hmm.
you know do our best to hold them accountable. And they keep coming in saying, "Oh, like let us get some money to do this and this and do that," but it don't make sense. Like none of this makes sense for multiple reasons, and the reason kind of why we supported like lifting that 2 mile restriction to try to develop somewhere within the inland port district is because you got two issues. With one phase of their project is a property that everybody has been in the news that said it has environmental issues, and that's the thing. Then you also got the other issue with even if you were to do this, the phase 2 of this project, people would be displaced. And I'm not in support of that. And I don't think a lot of people are. And the residents don't even want to move in the first place. So why are you considering this? Like, that should be off the table. And for whatever reason, that's not getting through their head. And it's just been a back and forth.
What type of challenge or element does the city already awarding them a grant? Like, how does that
So
play
the
into
city
this?
didn't give them a grant. So they were granted through DD to develop the airport business park. DD assigned that whole contract over to the Inland Port Authority, which has
Okay.
control now. But for them to access the funds, they have to get a letter of support from the Port Authority, and we haven't given them a letter of support because they haven't answered our questions and they just haven't been doing right.
Is there like a timeline for this? Is there like, you guys have until X, Y, and Z to answer these questions, or we're going to remove this, or is this just going to be a back and forth until it's figured out?
That's what we're working on now, is trying to amend the contract to try to get like more so a timeline in place to say we give you X amount of time to do these things to get this stuff right, and then then we'll see if you'll get a letter of support. So that's kind of what we're working on now, is amending the contract and asking for certain things to make sure they're held accountable, and if not, then we gotta look somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's very questionable because just the level of just the bar, was set very high for a bunch of organizations getting just 50,000, and here we have this organization getting millions upon millions, and you're telling us they don't even have a plan. It's kind of concerning.
Yeah, and I like, and they keep saying like, oh, y'all are holding us to like some unnecessary standard, and I don't think so. I think this is the standard that should have been forever for people doing any type of projects in North Omaha, making sure that you're looking at the best interests of the people. Like, at the end of the day, without the Inland Port Authority, they would be running wild right now, doing what they want.
Yeah, talking about OEDC when you
Yeah,
say they.
yeah. So I mean, they got to be held accountable. But I think anybody doing anything in North Omaha needs to be held
Should be.
accountable and be held to a high standard. Because at the end of the day, what's the use of developing this community when the people of the community can't take advantage of it? And that's what we got. That's the fight now. It's making sure whatever happens is at the best interest of the people.
There you go. There you go. Paul B, you got any questions?
No,
Chat
man,
going off.
I appreciate the update. I appreciate the update on those things, and there's some comments in the chat adding to that as well tonight. Patterson saying that that wasn't written into the bill. The legislation is written is for clearing the land. There's no way around that for the area without displacing people. Well,
No, the bill was written to develop an airport business park. It wasn't. It didn't say in the bill clear any specifically clear land here, because also the intent and like even in the program manual, you can't use the dollars to displace people because that was never the mission. Like I think sometimes a lot has gotten missed in translation, but even in the program manual, it clearly says you cannot involuntarily displace people.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, like, why should people have to leave their homes because of a development? Like, if they want to stay, let them stay. Like, that's their community. And I've never supported displacement. I've always been against that. And they don't even have the money to do that phase in the first place. So it really just doesn't make any type of sense.
Okay, so what's when we meet up with you again, where will we be at? What's the next step in the process? Are you saying you waiting on the
So we meet again on December 5th, but I ain't heard much else about so we still got to have some conversations about amending their contract and to whatever terms there are. The RFP for the innovation district for the visioning is out. We had put out an RFP for banking because we had to set up a bank account for the Port Authority. We're looking RFP for, I think, a search firm for searching for like an executive director to run it. So, and then start reaching out to the community advisory committee to try to set up a meeting for them. Try to do it at the beginning of December.
Are those meetings public?
Yeah.
And what decisions have to be made at those meetings next for next steps?
Well, at the next meeting, we'll have to start having conversations about looking over the proposals for the innovation district, proposals for banking, whoever applied for that. We'll also have to look at who to pick as far as like a search firm to look for an ED. Community advisory, we have to do a community survey, so we'll have discussions about that as well. Trying to think, I'm probably missing something.
As far as the RFPs, if anybody wants to, submit a proposal, where do they go?
They're on the clerk website.
Is that county, state?
City clerk.
Okay.
Under the Inland Port Authority. We still got to set up our website and things like that. Yeah, so it's still there right now.
Charles Weston says that next meeting is December 5th.
Yep.
It's an open public meeting, so I highly advise anybody interested in this to get ready to go to that and speak up. Yeah, we'll keep up with it. We appreciate the updates on that, man. We'll keep up with you on all these things, and of course, if there's anything that we can help with, or you can, you think we ought to be on our mind, let us know. And we just talked about it. We got about another month in this season, and so we hope that you keep coming and keep updating us, and we'll talk about what we're gonna do next season with you. But I can't tell you how much I've learned from just talking to you each week. Over the course of when you've been coming, man. I really appreciate you doing that. It always kind of enlightens me on really what's happening around here on a level that I'm not privy to see all the time. So I appreciate you.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, and thanks everybody for your questions as well. I appreciate it. So I definitely keep coming on.
Right on.
Much love. I guess before we let you go, anything else on your radar? Anything else in your heart, on your mind? Any last words?
I would just say, I think we're in a space of evaluation, like evaluating how we move forward as a community and I guess as a country. We could say that too. I think, everybody just, take some time to, evaluate life and your situations and what we're doing and what we're not doing in the community. Because, at the end of the day, whether you for Trump or not for Trump, he ain't gonna be president officially until January, 20th or whatever. So, I mean, we have to strategize and evaluate our current state and get prepared for whatever it's gonna be, but also prepare ourselves for the next year. So I just think, that's my words of encouragement. It's just, take some time for yourself and just think and try to see where we're going and how we move things forward for the best way for our community.
Big time.
Well said.
Yeah.
Right on,
thank
bro.
you.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, y'all.
Take care of yourself.
Yep.
Peace. Man.
All right. Always a pleasure
well
to
said.
speak to him. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Regardless.
Go ahead.
Just regardless of who's in office, man, you gotta have your voices heard. Have your mind be free. Have your voices heard. You either let the people who will help you let them know what you need. The people who won't help you, you gotta speak up. So yeah, with that.
All right. Get ready to speak up when we get back from the break. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the Guide.
Paul B.
Stay tuned. Be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Man, you guys are going off in the chat. Appreciate everybody that's having a lot of discussions about some of these issues and continuing the conversation on that. If you don't know, you can continue the conversation on Friends of First Sky Omaha, which is our group page on Facebook.
Yeah,
Definitely
man.
check us out there. Do us a favor, share the show, even after the show's over. Put it on your page, share the show so we can get as many people in talking as possible, because you can also comment on the shows after we're live. So I highly encourage everybody to do that, and I highly encourage everybody to even more importantly, sign up for the weekly wrap newsletter, because that's where a lot of this stuff is happening. We don't know what's going to happen with social media with this new administration coming in. We know
Man.
we heard that TikTok might be shutting down in America in February.
So,
Never know what's going to happen. We just went through a process where Elon Musk helped. I saw something on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is floating around talking about Elon Musk knew about the election results 5 days before the election
mm,
and was just out. He's been a major part of that. In the last 6 months, he's turned X into a very right wing a platform. And as you know, we kind of stopped doing stuff on Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter. I'm not even calling him X.
and mama call him Twitter.
Call him Twitter, right? We haven't been on Twitter in a minute because we're
Man.
not having it. So it's really kind of getting like that. I'm gonna put the link in the chat here for you to link up, and it's better to have these kinds of dialogue that we can speak one-on-one with each other on stuff, and we can go right to your email inbox and fight these algorithms, because you never know what's going to happen with all this.
Man.
Somebody mentioned Russian trolls and stuff like that earlier. May be responsible for a lot of stuff that's going on, including some of these emails or text messages to kids and all that. So we got to be careful about where we're looking, what we're looking at, what platforms we're using. They're all owned by somebody, and
Man.
that's what it is. So we highly encourage you to clean out your inbox and use that, and receive the newsletter, the weekly wrap, and also any other newsletters that you think are relevant. Start. I'm making a switch myself to start looking at more news on the newsletters from the sources that I trust,
Mhm.
instead of what I'm doom scrolling in the middle of the night looking at. So
Man.
just highly encouraged to be diligent about where you're getting your information from as well, and we'll do our best to keep on providing good information and good dialogue and stuff like that on the weekly wrap. Highly encourage you to do that, please.
Man. Again, remember this: a war on journalism out here, man. That's why journalism is activism. It's a very revolutionary act to want to tell the truth and let the people know what's going on in this, era of misinformation and disinformation. So,
Big time.
yeah, big time. Thank you all for your support and our efforts in trying to do our portion in that endeavor. And make sure you're definitely hitting us up. Check out the website firstskyOmaha.com. Click that join button at the top. That's a great way to become a member and continue to support what it is that we're doing here at First Sky Omaha. So yeah, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Man, just a few minutes left in the show, man. This thing is winding down quite quickly. I do want to acknowledge a comment from Brother Anthony Rogers Wright, kind of dropping some news on us, man. He says, talking to Tony Johnson, some of us are in the process of writing a bill that will allocate at least 20% of marijuana or MJ money to public schools. We're just looking for the right senator to introduce more soon. So, yeah, it's interesting news. Still kind of looking at the whole situation with legal medical marijuana in the state. I think there are still some legal challenges in the Supreme Court. Although the people did speak, they voted for it. Again, the powers that be, quote unquote, still pushing back. So still kind of looking out for that. But if that does stick, 20% going to public schools might definitely be an interesting way to help, if they accept it. It might be a way to help, change that situation. So thank you for that news. Paul, any comments jumping out to you before we get out of here?
Yeah, a little earlier, man. Stephen Abraham is in the chat. I appreciate you coming
Hey.
through this morning. Yeah, earlier we were talking about kids. He says some call our kids illiterate, but we know they can read people. I think we must reinvest into their strengths by listening to them and developing new ways that reinforce old positive experiences. The younger generations are yelling at us, but in most cases, we're telling them to stay out of grown folks' business.
Man.
So I think that's a very interesting comment that he had there on that. Kind of reminding me that whatever is going on with the children is the parents' fault. The parents are at fault for a whole lot of what's going on, and we can talk about all these different places, But every time I talk to anybody who's working with these kids, low key, that's what they say. They say, well, I'm working with these kids, but man, the parents is the problem.
Yeah,
The parents got them going, especially when they're young, like 7, 8, 9, 10. They ain't doing nothing on their own. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. They following, they
11, 12, even.
playing
So,
out what they see, the
yeah.
environments that they're in.
So yeah, it's for the parents and for people people who are in the I call them in the what they call it, village in the village helping with the kids that
Yeah.
don't have no kids but are they're helping. Yeah, we all can try to do something a little different and try to reach them a little differently. And I like that idea. Play to the strengths. We've been navigating bad public school for years. How does anybody excel in any of that stuff? Well, it's usually a family effort, a community effort, above and beyond what's going on with the school. You can go learn what you can learn from school. You got to go home and learn a little bit more in different directions. And it's up to the village to teach kids how to think critically and not just OPS. So
Yeah.
OPS just one aspect, and that's what's standing out to me too. I really appreciate what the senator said. A lot of people had some backlash about the fact that he wanted to there's to be some choice. Maybe the voucher program and stuff like that could work. But when the senators go a certain way, I kind of look at why they're doing it, and they have a little bit wider picture than all of us sometimes. Yeah, it's not just a cut and dry. They'll take money from a certain area and take money from public school and put it to private. But what are all the factors involved? It's not just bad schooling. What about other choices because of other
Hmm.
things like economics, like the conditions and so on and so forth. There's a more holistic picture of it, like Buddy was saying earlier. So I appreciate that, and I just think that it's part of the fight, and really, no matter what happens, just like you're saying about politicians, no matter who's elected, no matter what's going on, no matter how messed up OPS is or anything that's going on, it's all going to take us individually, parents and people in the village that are trying to help with the kids to really kind of reach out to the kids, man. Really, really make it about the kids and make that fight about the kids in a big way. So appreciate everybody's comments on that and how everybody has contributed to some of these ideas. And we can see both sides of the coin, especially when it comes to the education piece. And I just was encouraged to be reminded that it's us, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when it comes down to it, we got to have more contact with the kids and help with the kids straight up. That's just the bottom line on it. So appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that's joined in. Anything stand out to you, buddy? I can see your wheels turning over there. What's happening?
Yeah. Just kind of going over things, looking at some of the comments rolling in. Appreciate everybody still commenting, still a part of the conversation. And I guess my final words on this to kind of lower this episode and kind of wrap things up. Put a period on it. Just love, man. Love is what's coming to mind, man. We need to spread more love, love for each other, love for community, love for ourselves. And that energy will kind of manifest itself in a lot of the things that we know we need to see. And we got what we need. We just need to come together. As you often post here on the show, where we're not what is it? We're not outnumbered or out organized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So yeah, come together with a love movement, and the rest will make itself happen, man. So with that, yeah, I appreciate brother Senator Terrell McKinney. Thank you to JaKeen Fox for coming through, speaking with us. Definitely go ahead and check out the Dreamland Report. Definitely dope situation. Yeah, man, that video looked dope. And the Dreamland Report on YouTube. Check them out on all social media, and also check out their website. Again, it was at dreamlandreport.com.
Yes.
Oh, we just dropped a link tree, so you can get
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of it right there. Get all of it right there, man. So yeah, big shout out to our guests today. Of course, shout out to all of you, the chat chimers, the co-hosts, as we like to call you. Again, making sure that this is a safe space for us to talk about the issues, to kind of come to an understanding of the issues, and hopefully even mobilize to solve some of these issues. So again, we appreciate you for that. And of course, all the monitoring spirits out there, all the ghost listeners, first and last time listeners, we appreciate you all the same, man. We love you. We thank you for just checking out our conversation, tuning in to what it is that we have going on here at First Sky Omaha in the morning. And in the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Oh, in the morning, I get a chance to sing it this time.
Yeah. Come on, man.
In the morning.
Take it away, man.
Pop says, great show as always. Love you guys and see you on Wednesday. Appreciate it. We're not going to solve all problems here on the show, but we will discuss them and try to get to the next level in the discussion. We appreciate that. You can also continue the discussion on your platforms as well.
Yeah,
things
man.
that you have to say on here as well. We really, really appreciate it. And don't never shine away from any kind of dissenting opinions or differing opinions on anything. The only thing that I shy away from is a personal attack. So I appreciate everybody who's not personally attacking each other and just really
Yeah.
having some conversation and really trying to help enlighten brothers and sisters over these issues and from love, like Buddy's saying, love supreme. So
Yeah,
appreciate it.
man.
Appreciate all of you. Thanks to the Umaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to you. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before you. And thanks to you, the Chad Chimers, allowing us to speak with you. The conversation continues when we get over to Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page, and more importantly, the weekly wrap. Let's really kind of like rally around that. That's where we're going to be putting a lot of our efforts there, and also on the YouTube channel where we're ready to drop a lot more material there, hopefully to help educate, edutainment style, and all kinds of things that we got in mind and planned for. So stay tuned for that because I think there's more to be done out here. And I highly encourage you to go check out Dreamland Report, newest news channel that's coming here as well. And everybody else that's doing the good work. Shout out to Nebraska Examiner. Shout out to Flatwater Free Press. Shout out to Terry Sanders over there at Omaha Star.
Yeah, man.
Like there's a lot going on here. So shout out to a conversation with Cheryl Weston. She was in the chat today, for dropping some gems and some knowledge. So go check her page out. And also don't forget, check out Sunday Sermon with Sherman because
Yeah, man.
boy, man, you talking about really finding out what's going on up close and personal with our community. You definitely got to check his show out. And those are just a few, man.
The hood table.
Hood Table. I even check out the Ernie Chambers show still.
Yeah,
You know
man.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like there's some information out there we can gather and sort through, and we'll keep on being a part of that ecosystem and building that out. So again, appreciate it. Also Anthony Rogers Wright. Go check him out on SoundCloud as well. He's in the chat a lot here too. You want to hear what he has to say and conversate with him on those things and go back and forth. You can do it on his show as well. So go check him out as well. Anthony Rogers Wright. If you have a link on there, I'll put that in there on the chat or put that in there in the chat for us.
Yeah.
And they can link to your show and you guys can continue the conversation there as well. In the meantime, between time, we're going to come back Wednesday. We actually got some special guests coming on Wednesday. I know that we're running past, but I wanted to mention this because I'm very excited about Dominique Ron.
Man, brother
Man,
Ron.
coming
Yeah.
through. Yeah, we'll talk to him. He's over there at the Heart Ministry Center, and man, doing some big things, man. Doing some big things. I'm really happy to be working with him on some things. He'll be here, and also Nezzy Harges is going to be in here too. She just started over at IB Black Girl. There's going to be some things she's talking about coming up. I'm real happy. This is going to be some real cool special guests that are coming up on Wednesday that I can't wait to talk to that we haven't gotten a chance to talk to yet. Some new ones.
Yeah.
So that's what's up, man. So please tune in on Wednesday. Check us out. Really appreciate it. Gwen Easter said good show. Appreciate you, Gwen Easter.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it. Anthony Rogers Wright says he's going to put that link on Friends of First Sky Omaha in a bit. So definitely check him out and check out his podcast over there on SoundCloud. And like I said, get into the discussion there too. Most definitely. Appreciate that, everybody. We can go on and on here with comments. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. You can highly check out the comments. You miss any parts of this show, go back and check it out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube, and check out all the chats when you do. Lots of good information, lots of good comments, lots of good questions, and we will be referring to these things when we come back next. So this is an ongoing conversation. We highly encourage you to not miss episodes. Go back and check them all out and share them with people that you think might be of like mind, might get it, might want to get it, might need to get it. Please share it, and we'll all convene back here on Wednesday. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any means